Good evening. You're getting 2 in one day. I am trying to catch up. So, the bread of life. Did you know Jesus was a carb? Okay, so technically this is day 34 of Lent, and it was supposed to be Monday's word. So I'm almost caught up with today. Bread of life. In John chapter 6, verse 35, Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. The one who comes to me will never go hungry. And the one who believes in me will never be thirsty. Now, to a hardworking, poor middle class with no power, this sounds pretty amazing. I'm not going to have to work for my food. I just won't be hungry. I won't need to eat. I won't be thirsty. How is this going to work? It might not surprise you, but Jesus is talking in symbols and stories, and he's trying to get them to understand the importance of dwelling with Jesus. If you have the time, I suggest you go and read the whole chapter 6. It starts with the miracle of Jesus taking a little bit of food, blessing it to heaven, or asking God to bless it, and passing it out to the 5,000 plus people who were sitting there listening to his sermons. And when the disciples go and gather up all the leftovers, they have 12 baskets of leftover bread. That's pretty cool. That's a good miracle. The people are astonished and amazed, and they want to basically start a riot and kind of put him in power. So Jesus separates himself. He goes up to the high country, the hillside, and does some praying. The disciples get in a boat and go across the lake. In the middle of the night, Jesus walks up to them and they get to the other shore, and the people left in Capernaum are like, wait, where'd he go? Where's Jesus? We saw the disciples leave. The boat's still missing. So they go and try to catch up with him. And it's on this other shore where there are some of the people that were there for the miracle of feeding the 5,000 plus women and children, and some of the new people from this other shore that hadn't tasted this miracle. And Jesus is talking to them about the bread of life and how he is that life. And so they're taking it back like, okay, so are you better than Moses? When we were slaves in Egypt and Moses took us out of to the wilderness, like we had manna, we had bread from heaven. Are you better than that? Can you give us a sign? We want to see what the other people saw. Jesus isn't going to do a second miracle for them. He says, this is it. You see me, believe me. This conversation seems to happen during Passover, about a year before Jesus' crucifixion. And understandably, there's a mix-up on some of the terms that Jesus is using. What does he mean? He gets in later, unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, you have no part in me. And that's been a stumbling block. It was for them there. They start grumbling and complaining. What is he talking about? A lot of his disciples left him at this point. It was too much information. It was too hard to grasp. The ones that were left say, okay, what works do we need to do to get this bread of life from God? And Jesus says, I am the bread of life. I can sustain you. The work that you need to do, good works are good, but the work you need to do is to look on the Son of God and believe. Belief is the work that Jesus is talking about here. And as Jesus goes down from verse 35, he gives them a promise of resurrection in the last day, in the day to come. And he warns them about the crucifixion, how they will see the Son of Man lifted up or raised up. He's referring to the type of death he will die next year, about the same time. So when he says he is the bread of life, my family really likes bread. We like rolls to make sandwiches on. We like bagels for lunch. We like English muffins for breakfast. King's Hawaiian bread is one of our favorites. I'll throw that in the car just as a snack. This bread, like the manna in the desert, is great for sustenance. But we'll eat this and it disappears. Our body digests it, we use it up, and it's gone. Jesus is forever, and he's trying to bridge that gap between our earthly human bodies and the physical needs that we have, but the souls, the spirits that we are, and how God is trying to connect that spirit with eternal life, the promise of resurrection. It's the relationship of mutual indwelling. Eat of this bread, this holy bread. I will be in you and you will be in me. It echoes what he was talking about with the vine. I am the true vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, I will remain in you. Okay? So next time you pick up some bread, give it a double thought about Jesus. Is he your sustenance? Are you fed on him and his word? Does he support you? Or is this one of those sayings that it's a little too difficult and I don't understand it, so I'm going to choose to walk away? Jesus leaves that choice up to us, but he hopes that you will look on him and be saved.